Welcome to the 2K special where I get to answer your burning questions like, am I the guy following you home every night? And am I really addicted to opioids just like the Chinese? Don't worry, these questions and many more will be answered. I also have a special gift to show everyone, but that's later in the show. Now let's get the stereotypical YouTuber thanking my fans and how grateful I am out of the way first. Okay, in all seriousness, I really do appreciate everyone who watches my videos and who has recently subscribed to make this special possible. I would have never expected this, from making really bad music videos to still making really bad videos, but they're not music videos, so it's a bit better, to now. I would never expect this. I would also never expect to do history videos in the first place. If you don't know a bit about me, because I've sprinkled in a couple important videos like why I make history content, I was never allowed to do ancient history or history really in general as a subject in my schooling years because of my disability, dyslexia. And so I was never allowed to do the subjects I really was interested in and had passion for. So making history videos on this channel gets me to really feel like I have the chance to do that, and maybe in the future, I doubt it, but I could have been maybe a historian, or I could have been a history teacher, or something like that, maybe, but that's besides the point. I really do appreciate everyone who takes the time to watch those videos and help me out if I make a mistake, or anything like that, because it really does mean a lot to me. And I just wanted to thank you all. You've been so amazing to me, and I really hope that this continues to keep going as far as it can, and I really love to see what happens from it. Enough with the sad emotional stuff on how I got here and how I'm gonna cry because you guys are so amazing. Let's go into the more of the either funny or interesting questions that you guys have decided to give me, and some of them are ridiculous, so have fun with that. On to our first question. What is your favorite variety of cheese?
Cheese.
The ones with the holes in it, I guess. I don't know its name. Holy cheese? I don't know. Yeah, that one. Thanks for answering. Thanks for asking, I guess. On to our second question. If I could move anywhere into the Maya, where would it be? I really do like my beach house, especially in the summertime. But if I were to choose, it would either be Kazan Castle, because it's a goddamn castle, but it keeps getting sieged upon, so I don't think I would really choose that one. A map that I really do love on the way it's designed, as well as like how it looks, would be Temple Garden. I would live there. It's a peaceful place. I would have shadow clones of Tozen protecting me, I would presume. So what's there to hate? And I get free fish. I just go in the pond and eat some koi. So, you know, free food. On to the next question. English or Spanish? Third option, Australian. Now moving on to the next question. What made you base your entire channel and personality on the interest of General Fujikiyo? I know that he is cool and all, but what made you click and say, yes, this is the guy I am now? What makes him stand out from Tozen or perhaps even Seijiro? I definitely think I misread that, half of it, but it's alright, it doesn't matter. Why did I click with Fujikiyo? Pretty simple, kind of. I really liked the story behind Fujikiyo more than the others. Seijiro's a little brat and a snake. I don't like that. Tozen is too, I'm Mr. Confident Guy, I'm legendary, I defend the bridge, and I died in the lamest way ever. And then there's other characters like Ayu. She basically betrayed the Emperor, and that's why she's a disgraced house. Dokucha sucks, he's a coward. Ranja, it's Ranja. The fat Shigoki is, well, he's a greedy slob. The only other guy I kind of like from the campaign is the Emperor's Champion, but even him, he's kind of 50-50 with me. But the reason why I like Fujikiyo is he's a samurai with duty, care, and respect. He cares about his soldiers, he doesn't run away, he fights honorably, he's a warrior who can accept his own fate and realize it in the end. He's an amazing tactician when he has the ability to. He just wasn't really gifted many resources because of the Emperor. He knew the Vikings were attacking, so he did what he could to defend, and still knew that his life was at an end, he still sacrificed his life. He still has some type of composure during the fight, And I also like his lore. It's not like, you know, sprinkled in. It's sprinkled in there, but it's like not overly, but also has bits and pieces of how he acts and how he characterizes himself to be such an honorable and well-respected samurai among his people. And the samurai chose him to represent them. Another reason why I really connect with him is because he's an overlooked character in the campaign that no one either remembers or really pays attention to. They just go, oh, cool samurai guy, he speaks, you know, Japanese, whatever. But he's just so interesting to me that a guy like this who has all these achievements under his belt, the way he represents himself is a simple kensei, but he still shows that he is so honorable and well collective compared to any of the other samurai in the campaign. And he acts more like a samurai than any of the others. He's not a bumbling buffoon like Seijiro or Tozen. He's not an overconfident moron. He doesn't make witty jokes randomly. He's just a samurai who's there to do his duty, and he's there to fight for the emperor, even though he doesn't probably like the emperor because the emperor doesn't listen to him about the warnings of the Vikings. He's still gonna fight for the emperor because that's what he knows and that's what he's done. He's gonna die for the emperor even though he doesn't like what's happening. He's still gonna show honor to his lord. Your next question is basically, in short, what do I think the next samurai hero is gonna be and what are my speculations? Well, the only reason why I speculated the Sohei so well is because I had something to base it off and I kind of knew where they were going. The next hero from the idea I'm thinking of is probably going to be like the Bear Claws weapon because everyone keeps asking for it. I don't really particularly care for that weapon. As long as they actually give him armor they could make Shredder out of, that's all I care for. But if a samurai hero that I really particularly want to work with is someone with a bow, you know, like, I know how ridiculous that sounds, but you could technically make a bow hero. They just can't use their bow while they're fighting, but everything else is going to be centered around a bow. Or a Meiji Restoration period Imperial Japanese soldier. That's what I want. I want him to use a musket. I want him to use a musket and a bayonet. And I want him to have armor for the samurai, like for the emperor and for the shogun. And he can interchange them. That's what I want. I want that for a samurai hero. But they'll never do it because pirate sucks and everyone hates pirate and then they ruin that chance. Or I would want someone like a Wako Raider, like a Japanese pirate. That could be really cool because you can intermatch their armor pretty well. So they're my ideas. Now your last question is, what do you think of me? You're a guy, I think. You've helped me with a video. You're a samurai. You haven't bought me a drink. So make that with what you will. I don't know. You're alright, I guess. I don't know. It's such a weird question. Moving on to the next question. Is Oda the best house? I know why you asked this. I know why you did it. And it annoys me. And I hate you for it. Yes, Oda is one of the best houses in history. Besides the Takagawa because of what they achieved. But Oda started everything. But personally, in my opinion, I prefer other clans like the Date, Shimazu, Fujiwara, Minamoto, the Taira. I prefer a lot more other clans than Oda, and especially Takagawa. I think there were other greater warriors in their clans that are maybe not as remembered, but did a lot more better, especially like people like Takeda. But that's just my opinion. That's also because they look cool and I don't really like the color yellow. Next question. What is your rep on For Honor? I think you're a rep junkie for asking me this, but I think I'm 712 or something. I don't know. You need to stop this. You need to get help. I will send you help. There are help lines for people like you who just care about rep. It's okay. We're here for you. On to the next question. Do I do lore for my customized characters? If so, would you give us a bit of lore for your characters? Sure thing. I'll give you maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm doing this live, technically. Alright, this is a warden that I've done. So I've based him kind of off the villain from Batman called Equinox, as well as like the knights from Ben 10, one of the Ben 10 series. So what these guys are and what they represent, they basically represent, imagine if you turn up Christianity and their beliefs up to like 1,000. So they really do believe in everything like that. They're disgraced wardens and every knight you can think of faction who was either disgraced, imprisoned, and thrown away, and they all decide to make their own religious section and faction. And what they really hunt for and what they do is that they really hate the Hawkos and the Chimera, because they think if knights work with samurai, Vikings, and Wulin, you're no longer pure at heart and you're no longer righteous to hold the name and the respect of true God and as Ashfeld people. So they basically hunt you down and take you out. That's their whole theming around. It's like an opposite version of the Blackstone Legion, you could basically think of. They do everything like the Blackstone Legion does, except in the opposite understanding. For my Nobushi, my fox Nobushi, I based her off a yokai fox spirit, and the premise is basically that a fox is injured and a man helps the fox, but he doesn't know it's actually a yokai, and she decides to continue to hide herself, but they build trust together. The fox begins to love the man, but unfortunately, during the timing of these events, the Vikings raided and pillaged and murdered this humble and nice, calm man who was just trying to protect his village. The fox, enraged and hated this, became a human and decided to take up the weapon against Vikings and take revenge against the kind of people that murdered the innocents of the forest, as well as the innocent young man who helped her survive. The last one I'll share is my Orochi. So this Orochi was part of the imperial family and was at the siege of where Fujikiyo died, but he survived by accident. He was knocked off. So technically, imagine Ghost of Tsushima story that he's basically was knocked off and off the bridge and he survived. But instead of becoming the ghost and a heroic warrior of his people, everyone disgraced him for not doing anything and not dying and not saving anyone. Everyone has disowned him. He has no one to support him and no one cares about him, but he still carries on. People even think of him lesser than a Ronin and a thief. They really do hate him. They go at him as much as they can. But he proves himself eventually to people that are like peasants and even other people like that. And he seems to build himself back up as a hero and not a disgraced warrior. But it takes time, and he doesn't decide. He chooses the idea to never wear any clan colors and just represent himself. That's why he shows no symbols, no colors. And that's why he's a really basic red color Orochi. On to the next question. Finally, what is your opinion on Raven Knights bros? That's what I'm going to call Lark and Raven, and seriously, I dare you to add a frame jump scare of Apollyon for the people who are scared of women. First off, were you on something while you wrote this question? Just be honest with me. Second of all, I don't know what you're really asking of me. I think you're technically asking what's my opinion on Raven Knight's brother and Raven Knight. I don't watch his brother, and I don't really watch Raven Knight. To be honest with you, it's because he just pumps out too much content. Topics he talks about that have no interest to me, like religion, Dying Light, Rambo. I do like watching lore videos from Raven Knight, but I hope that helped, and I guess I might add a jump scare. I don't know yet. On to the next question. Who is the most loyal person in For Honor lore? That's a good one. I don't actually know. I probably put Gutmunder. No, Jormungand. Okay, the guy whose family died in the fire. Whoever that guy is, I'll probably say, because he's loyal to his family. Fujikiyo is loyal to his cause, and I would say he's loyal to the Emperor. If I were to say someone who's truly loyal that I've known of recent, would probably be Miko, the Yokai Slayer. She's completely loyal to her family and the love of her brother, and it's actually a pretty lovely story. And it's really sad how she dies and sacrifices her own life to really save her brother. I think that's real, true loyalty there. Other than that, I don't probably know too much. Maybe I guess Apollyon is really loyal to her cause, and people that really, really, truly follow Apollyon, like wolves or something they're called. I'm not too sure, but other than that, I hope this helped. I'm not really too knowledgeable in the lore because most of it sucks. Now, the next question is from a furry. We should all make fun of him, laugh at him now. An actual genuine question. What are your goals? Are you studying for sending asides from YouTube. My goals were to become a bartender. It's been pretty unsuccessful. It's actually had a lot of falls and not much success, and it's not really fun. That's why I'm unemployed at the moment. Choo choo, success. So yeah, it hasn't been so successful. I'm trying my best, but that's life, you know. It sucks sometimes, but it also has its benefits. So it is what it is. On to the next question. If I could change and or remove one moment or event in For Honor's lore, which one would it be? If it would be event, so an actual gameplay event, I would get rid of. I would 100%, no questions asked, get rid of Marching Fire. Marching Fire got rid of so much content and destroyed a lot of For Honor, in my opinion. Got rid of the minion killing animations, removed so much dialogue from the campaign, removed so much symbols, ornaments, and other content completely gone from the campaign. It released game modes that are basically dead and not have seen much progress. Like the whole Wulin faction was a complete utter joke. Like Wulin faction and not making them a faction, and they've only added one other hero since Marching Fire for the Wulin. That is a complete other joke, and it's stupid. I don't know why they did it. It was so terrible. Worst event that ever happened in For Honor's history. Lore-wise, Hawkos and Chimera were the worst lore, reason, and suggestion to ever happen. In lore, apparently the Dawn Empire, the Warborn, and whatever other factions exist are all dead, and it's just the Hawkos and Chimera. The Hawkos and Chimera are so lazy. This is what they did. Who do people like? Apollyon. Let's bring her back, but make her worse. Who's a good guy that people like? Oh, Holden Cross. He's funny and he's really cool. Let's bring him back and make him a bumbling buffoon. That's all they did. And just the whole idea and basis around like, oh my god, everyone's working together. It's either become an edgelord or you're not an edgelord. Who would win? Oh my god. And Dragonite. Oh my god, Dragonite. I hate Dragonite. I hate it. I hate it. And I also hate every theming with the Hawkers and Chimera. It's another cult. Oh look, another cult. Oh look, it's another cult, but they're technically just the Hawkos with a different coat of paint. It's like, oh my god, I hate it. I hate it. I just hate it. Terrible. If I had it my way, For Honor would have never gone down that route. Never. Maybe we would have had one or two cults, but they would actually be somewhat interesting instead of, we love Apollyon, but it's actually not Apollyon, and she doesn't do anything that Apollyon does. She's the complete opposite. It was terrible. Alright, moving on to the next question. Why did you choose Fujikiyo? Anything particular drew you to him? He has a six-pack, he has a lovely mustache, and he's amazing. What kind of hero would you want in For Honor, particularly like a Persian with a saber? For me, this is going to sound ridiculous, and people are going to probably laugh at me. I want a hero that's based around the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, as well as the Headless Horseman. Imagine this, right? The lore would be that this random person appears one day and everyone's afraid of him. No one knows if he's human or not, or if a devil, but people believe that he's one of the 4 horsemen. And imagine that. He could either have a weapon of a scythe, that could just be a basic one, or he could have an interesting weapon. It could be for the Outlanders, I think, not the Knights. It would be more interesting like that. And he would have armor representing each of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, armor to him. Like, just make it really gothic, like Sauron level gothic and like scary, where you have all these factions literally afraid because they believe they're, you know, the bringers of death. And you can even do a funny, interesting thing with it. You could like take the idea of like death bringing characters armor like from the Romans, from the Vikings, from the samurai, from the Chinese, from other Outlanders, and give them those type of feel like armors. Even like you could give him like Anubis head, but make it more like scary and gothic, where people don't even know if he's human or not. I thought that could be a really interesting way that For Honor could go into. I know it's fantasy, and not a lot of people like the fantasy, but I think we have to finally, you know, suck it up and realize For Honor is fantasy. Why don't we just go the extra mile and make it even more fantasy in certain aspects? Like with this hero, I think it would be really cool. Imagine basically playing like Sauron or like the Bringer of Death. As for your other questions, why do Vikings fashion have to be so bad? It took us ages to get clean armor. That's because Vikings are terrible with fashion, and they always will be. should just join the samurai. Samurai for the win. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck? I can't believe I said that pretty well, especially with my dumbass. So congratulations to me. On to the lucky last question. I believe if I did forget your question, please bully me in the comments below. In terms of the community, and not very much talked about the aspect of the faction war as a system, what are your thoughts on how, on your thoughts on that? Any changes you would personally like to see or make if you were able to? Good question, and I've actually hated the faction war for so long. Lore-wise, it doesn't actually make any sense because the factions are all dead, and it's just the Hawkghost and Chimera. I'll get to that theory in a bit, but I think if you win, like, let's say that there's like 5 seasons and you win a season, I think you should get a boost in steel and XP, but you should have a debuff to how many soldiers you get. So the other factions still have a fighting chance to win. So it's not like always the Vikings. So it has incentive to continue winning. So more land and stuff you capture, the more XP and steel you get, but you get less troops. So it really depends on how smart you are and where you guys, and like if the community works together and think about where they're going to place the troops. And then for the other faction, it actually gives them a fighting chance to, oh, look, let's take another faction. So it's more like, okay, the Vikings may have 3 and the Samurai may have 2. Look at that. It's a lot better than just the Vikings always winning. I think it would be a better system. It would incent you more to actually think about the faction war because you get more steel out of it and you get more XP. That's what people really love and they really care about. It could just be like a 1% boost, then 2%, then 3%. That's what I think. And it'll also make the faction war a bit more even because you're having a debuff on you as well. You're getting less troops. So you can get the other factions the ability to have a fighting chance to actually win it as well, or to even become equal. So then it can go down to a 1-all type of thing. I believe, at least. As for the faction war lore reason why we don't actually have the Dawn Empire anymore, because it's destroyed because of the Hawkghost and the Chimera, blah 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 blah. I hate that. What I would do is I would make you can scrap the whole thing. I would choose, you can only choose the Hawkghost, the Chimera, and the Outlanders. So if you choose the Outlander faction, you get like a weird thing about it, but it actually gives you a buff to any Outlander hero you play, so you get more XP, you get a bit more troops, and maybe you can also get something additional. Let's say, I don't know, a 1% like loot find with the Outlanders. Let's say if you choose the Hawkghost or the Chimera, you know, it's just, that doesn't matter. But in those two factions, you can choose either the Samurai Knights, Vikings, or Wulin, and if you choose them, you get a special like outline of the Hawkghost and the Wulin, so it kind of make you represent that and look better. But if you choose, let's say, the Wulin faction, you get a buff to the Wulin faction if you play those heroes, but that doesn't mean you still can't play like the Samurai. So it just means that if you choose your faction, you're truly thinking about what characters do I play more, who do I like more, whose lore is better, and it actually gives a reason of why you choose the faction instead of, oh my god, the Vikings always win, or I love Samurai. So it actually gives you a full-on good reason to choose that faction. I do hope you enjoyed all my answers, and I hope you appreciate that, and thank you everyone for watching this video and giving me your responses, even how funny or interesting they were. But don't leave just yet. I have a special gift that I want to show you. This is a project I've been working on for a very long time now, and I've decided to make a trailer. So you guys get to first see the trailer firsthand. I know it's probably going to be only 5 people that are actually going to stay here for this segment and actually watch it. So I hope you enjoy, and please be excited for the upcoming video.
The Great Raid, they would call it. And it had begun. 城は落ちた。ぶち壊しよって。もはや兵もおらぬ。我が命もほどなく尽きよう。門を開いたのは貴様だ。この命であがれ。The samurai! They're weak. We outnumber them 10 to 1. Their commander was legendary among his people. And ours. Only their commander remained.
Well, I do hope you enjoyed my first-hand trailer making skills. I'm not good at making trailers, I'm going to be honest, but I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for that, because that project will be coming very shortly. I don't know when, but it will be coming. Besides that, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps out the channel. You've probably seen it firsthand now, because I'm, 2K special. Besides that, I really love you all, and thank you for all your support and wanting to watch my videos and giving me the time and day to, fix my craft, to share things that interest me and interest you, and I really do appreciate that, and I thank you a lot. With that, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.